Hello, this is David Heine, and today we're at the John Lennon Yoko Ono art exhibit at the Hilton Hotel. With us today is Abigail Esman, who is going to tell us a little about how the exhibit came to be. Could you tell me how you organized this, or how this was organized?
Yeah, we decided that because of the 30th anniversary of the bedin at the Hilton, we wanted to do something to commemorate the event and the peace action that would memorialize John Lennon and what he stood for. I've been working with John Lennon's art for a few years now, and it seemed a perfect time to create an exhibition here at the Hilton, which is where the bedin was held. At the time that we first planned the exhibition, the idea was to create a sort of memento and a reminder of the need for a peace action. Just before the exhibition went up, the crisis began in Kosovo, and planes started flying into Kosovo, which made it, I think, all the more important to us to actually stage the exhibition and to bring the peace message of John Lennon and Yoko Ono back into the forefront.
How right you are. I think we have a tendency to overlook those things, and that was the great thing about the bedin here, wasn't it? It was such a statement about peace, and I think it's still a statement that's well needed. Could you tell me a little about how the exhibit itself is organized?
Well, we start the exhibition with the works that John Lennon actually drew depicting his honeymoon and the bedin. It was a wedding gift that he made for Yoko that has images of the marriage ceremony, leaving for the honeymoon, and the bedin and various other events during their honeymoon. These were subsequently published in an edition of prints signed by John Lennon that were then exhibited in England and Chicago and other places around the world. Because the prints have a lot of very erotic images in them, when they were first exhibited in England, they were confiscated by Scotland Yard, which grabbed them off the walls and ran them out of the gallery. They were also confiscated in Chicago, and they were ordered by a judge to be burned. Now we're able to show them in a hotel. So a lot has happened in 30 years.
Well, this is Amsterdam.
This is Amsterdam, this is true. But they are very, very much loved images. People now can understand these as images of the love between John and Yoko, and not pornographic drawings.
And so this is the beginning of the exhibit, and where does it go from here?
Oh, it goes a lot of different places. We have the handwritten lyrics of John's songs, both from the Beatles years and the solo years. We have a number of images from his years after he stopped recording. When Sean was born, he stopped recording, he stopped playing music altogether. And when his son Sean was born, all he wanted to do was be a father and stay home and be a father to him. And he really immersed himself in his family life. Most of these drawings come from that time and depict they're like a journal. They're like a diary that he made of his life and his feelings, the way you would write in a diary about your feelings, he drew. Yoko said, actually, that she found that a lot of the times when he was very depressed, he would make extremely funny drawings. And sometimes when he was in a great mood, he would make very sad drawings, which she always thought was a very John Lennon thing to do. And you see all of that here. As you go through the exhibition, there are some that are very joyful, and there are some that are very moving and very touching.
Yoko Ono is still involved with this exhibit in some way, isn't she?
In many ways. She, first of all, she selects from the many drawings that John left when he died, specific drawings to be produced in limited editions, which is what it's mostly on view here, although we also have several original drawings. She makes those selections, she oversees the printing, she signs each print. Some of the works are hand-colored by her. In the case of this particular exhibition, because of the message that we wanted to bring, she has also given us 3 posters from the War is Over performance piece that she did with John Lennon, in which they put posters all over the world saying, "War is over if you want it." We have 3, I think, original posters signed by Yoko Ono, which she's given us for this exhibition. The sales of those posters will be given directly to War Child, and that was something she did specifically because of the timing and the spirit of this exhibition.
Oh, it's wonderful. Now, you were mentioning that there was an upcoming book based on some of the drawings that you have here.
There is an upcoming book that's to be published by Random House in June of this year. It includes 40 drawings that John Lennon made for his son Sean in order to teach Sean to read and to write. And these were very precious moments, very precious father-son moments. But they're extremely funny drawings. There's a horse laughing. There's a monkey chattering. He's on the telephone sitting in a tree. The laughing horse has a beach ball on his back, a beach ball on his back, and there's a pig on the beach ball and a bird on the pig, and they're all very whimsical, creative, childlike, but extremely beautiful drawings. And these are being collected into a book to be published by Random House.
Now, this exhibit is open to the general public?
It's open to the general public. We're here from 11 in the morning to 6:30 in the evening until Monday the 5th of April.
And does the exhibit travel after that, or this is the only place it'll be exhibited?
This is the largest exhibition that's ever been done. There are exhibitions done throughout the world from time to time, but when this exhibition comes down, the works go back into storage. The original drawings will go back to Yoko Ono. Eventually, they will be included at the John Lennon Museum, which is being built in Tokyo. But from time to time, additional exhibitions are held throughout the world.
Now, you were telling me one thing, that in John's letter, or just before he died, there were 2 things he wanted to be remembered by. Could you tell me that?
He did. Well, art was always the most important thing for him. He said that the guitar came second. And he studied art. He went to Liverpool Art School, and it was the one thing that he wanted most to be known for. Before he died, he told Yoko that the 2 things he wanted before he died were to record another album, which he did when he recorded Double Fantasy, and to be known for his artwork. And the reason that Yoko Ono began to produce these prints was as a gift to John to make this possible so that his work could be known around the world and people could understand what kind of a gifted artist he really was.
Abigail, could you tell me, I remember it well, but maybe some of the viewers don't. What was the bedin really about?
The bedin took place because John and Yoko had just been married, and they knew that whatever they did, wherever they went, the media would be everywhere. And John was creative and savvy enough to know how to turn that to his advantage. And he decided to create a media event that would promote this message of peace. And they wanted to do it also in a way that young people could relate to. You know, lie in bed and let your hair grow was the kind of thing that Beatles fans could understand and relate to as an action for peace. Let your hair grow until peace comes. That kind of feeling of working with youth and promoting anti-violence, non-violence among the youth is something that Yoko Ono is still very much involved with. She's recently produced a new sculpture, which we have here. This is the first time that a sculpture has been authorized by Yoko Ono, a 3-dimensional image of John Lennon. What's special about the sculpture is that the base metal is made from melted down handguns. And those handguns are either confiscated from youths or turned over by youth groups to the police in America. They are melted down and used as part of the sculpture. The proceeds from the sales of the sculpture go to an organization called Ceasefire, which was created by Jan Wenner, the editor of Rolling Stone. And Ceasefire also works to keep young people out of crime. It creates recreational programs and tries to motivate them to stay out of gangs. So it's, again, something that works to prevent violence among youth. And, of course, since John Lennon was killed by a shotgun, this is something that's very special for Yoko.
Well, Abigail, thank you very much for telling us all that.
Thank you.
about John and Yoko. Hello, this is David Heine, and now we're in the suite of John and Yoko Ono. Here's the bed where they did their bed in for peace. And we're going to talk with Roberto, the director of the Hilton now, about the concept here in this room. So, Roberto? Take it away. Ono, you told me the other day, stayed here at one point.
Yes. Yoko Ono and Sean came here when they were here. As soon this was built back. Actually, it was a British lady who came. Who was the idea of the suite was Anne Shield. She was the general manager at the time of this hotel, and I was her assistant. And she said to me, "Oh, Roberto, this is so fantastic. We got to do it." And I thought, well, Anne, yeah, we got to do it. So I start saying, "How do we start? How do you do something like this?" And it was just happened that Yoko Ono was having a concert in Amsterdam, and she stayed with us. And we just came through the same elevator. I always remember it was the left elevator here. And I said, "Miss Ono, I don't want to disturb you, but I work with Anne Shield, and she really wants to do this thing. Would you agree that we're going to use your name?" And she said, "Oh yes, I would love to." And John always wanted that the message would come through. And if your hotel is prepared to do that, I would be very pleased. But please be so kind to be sure that everything is according to what we think is correct. And she's very proper, actually, with everything with John Lennon, because she doesn't want to do anything commercialized. And so we went in contact with our estate, with the John Lennon estate at the time. And they approved it. And back in 1990, they started with a rebuilding. And it was up in 1991. And remodeling in the years to come. And it has the final look now this year, which is just finished.
Roberto? So when I think about it, it must have caused quite a stir here at the Hilton to have John and Yoko here.
Well, I don't think it was really a stir. It was a fantastic thing because at that time, of course, John and Yoko were very famous still. What was very nice, I understand that our general manager at that time used to go and buy they were very much into microbiotic, and they used to have ghost milk in the morning. And he would go in the morning, early in the morning, to the farmers and get a ghost milk for them fresh. And one of our bellboys would run into this restaurant in the Overtoom, which is not so far away from here, because it was the only vegetarian restaurant in Amsterdam. So 30 years ago, if you think about it, there was no ethnic restaurant, there was no vegetarian restaurant here. So we were not used to vegetarian food. So they would go and collect it, and they would come back with the hot food here, and they would eat from these paper things, and it was incredible. It was very, very interesting also for us, I think. It is a good experience. It's fantastic. When you're in the middle of it, I think that we are here for our guests in principle. So it sounds so cliche, but in principle, what have I got to say if a guest wants to do what he wants to do? I don't have anything to judge. I'm just a service. I'm in a service industry, and if they respect the hotel, then I have nothing to say. It's my job to please them. So it was I think that my general manager who was previous me, he thought exactly the same. I think it was wonderful. I would have done the same. I think to go and collect the milk in the morning, I think it's incredible, it's wonderful. I would have done it. I think it's beautiful. And if they were happy, and after a few days, you understood that they were making a statement. So you knew what you were doing, I think. And I think it is a funny thing to think of. I think that's quite important, that people go on. And that's also the reason we started this exhibition. When we started in December, we thought, oh, should we do this exhibition on the 30th in March? It's the 30th anniversary of John and Yoko. And we did it 5 years ago for his 25th anniversary. And then we thought, oh, well, we don't want really to commercialize those things. We know they were here. The whole world knows they were here. What do we need to more to communicate? And we saw this combination that things were happening, and we say maybe it's time to bring it up again and that people make them understand. So we contacted the John Lennon estate back in the States, and they were very pleased to come over and said, oh, then let's do something special. And Mrs. Ono got involved herself with the whole idea, and she downstairs there are some of her works which are personal and they're never to be seen. So she came over with 140 works, the largest exhibition it has ever been from John Lennon. And I hope that also in the United Kingdom this will be appreciated, because in the United Kingdom Mrs. Ono is less respected than somewhere else, and she's a fantastic, I think. What do you call that? Oh my goodness, what is this in English? She's an artist. She's a fantastic artist. She's the mother of Fluxus. And everybody thinks about John Lennon, but the influence of Mrs. Ono in his life at that time stimulated his wanting to paint again. He was already at art school before, and I think that the combination of the two, she stimulated. And if you look at the work of Mrs. Ono back now, I was at the Biennale in Venice in 1992, I think it was, 1992, and it was this fantastic exhibition on Fluxus. And Mrs. Ono is the mother of Fluxus. And if you see all her works, are incredible. It's very, very interesting to see it. And I can understand that John was very stimulated by her. And it was his previous love, actually, to be an artist. And then he did not have any money because he was an artist. And suddenly he played the guitar, and there we got the money. And he went on. And then suddenly to find somebody who could stimulate your artistic view, I think it's good. And it was, I think, she was saying that when John, at the years they were living together, it was one of his wishes to be known also as an artist, not also as a singer. And I'm very pleased that she continues to bring over this information to us, that he was also an artist, that he was influenced by artistic way of thinking, and that he was not a commercial thing, just playing a little bit of the guitar. I think it's wonderful. And I'm very pleased that she takes the time and she takes the way of thinking that he had and don't commercialize it too much, and just say things that is good. A lot of the money which we do here in the exhibition will go for the new. That there's going to be a new museum in Tokyo dedicated to John Lennon, and she has created that. In Tokyo there will be a museum for John Lennon, and she's going to invest a lot of money over there. She donated now one of his prints to us, and we decided that we're going to dedicate it to the war child. So all the money that we're going to collect during this period will be given to the war child. So she's always very busy with things which are important to the world and not to make money. And I think it's very important that she goes on and portray that idea. And in a very small, in our hotel, if we can participate with our small things, why not? It's good for us, it's good for everybody. And I hope people will respect that we're doing this, and we do it because we think it's good to be done. Thank you.